I still have dreams that I have hair. I have a form of scarring alopecia, and I've had it for over 20 years.
I've had alopecia areata and alopecia universalis for roughly around 2 years now.
I have alopecia areata right now, but I've had totalis and universalis throughout my life. I've had it for 37 years.
I have alopecia areata, bordering on alopecia universalis, and I've had it since I was 12.
We were getting ready to graduate and I wanted my hair to look great. So back then, I guess this was the 80s, perms were in style. And after getting a perm, I started to notice hair falling out. And eventually it led us to go to a dermatologist. And it was that dermatologist that diagnosed us, well, me, with alopecia. And you know, we had never heard about it.
Massive hair loss, and within a month I lost all body scalp hair. And that was really devastating for me.
A lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainties. I did see a dermatologist. That appointment lasted no more than 10 minutes. It was not very informative. It was very dismissive. And the type of alopecia that I have, there isn't a lot of research on it. So you're really just trying to find your way in the dark.
And I felt sort of like the medical professionals were almost, I think they were trying to be helpful and considerate, but it almost felt like a gaslighting where, oh, you'll be fine, don't worry about it.
And I guess not realizing that all my hair would fall out eventually. I remember picking up, you know, every time a little piece of hair would fall, I remember picking up each piece and just saving it in an envelope.
You know, having my 21st birthday and being diagnosed fully with alopecia universalis, it was really tough on my family seeing me, you know, being completely isolated.
Imagine being in your late teens, early 20s, like that's high school, that's university, and now you have patches everywhere, not to mention a burning, fiery scalp. My scalp was so sensitive. It was sensitive to light, it was sensitive to touch. Even putting a wig on was painful. Even wrapping my head with a scarf was very, very painful. So I just felt the need to cover it up because it was gross to look at. Like, let's just be honest.
I have alopecia, but I also do have hair now. Essentially, it's something that can happen at any time. You don't know when you're going to go into maybe a flare-up and your alopecia might worsen or progress.
And when you lose your hair, it's like that perception is totally gone and you catch yourself in the mirror, you know, if you're walking by a building that has a, you know, shiny window or whatever and you see something and you're like, who's that? And then you realize like, it's yourself. Like, how weird.
How am I supposed to feel like Crystal again? How am I supposed to feel like the woman that I know I am?
The biggest challenge of my alopecia journey has been learning to accept myself as a woman with alopecia and how I look and how people perceive me. Alopecia is not just cosmetic. It has a huge impact on your mental health, how you perceive yourself, how people perceive you.
I think my greatest sense of loss perhaps was when I lost it again in my 30s. But as I got older, it's interesting, when the hair grew back, I was so grateful to have that long hair again. And then when I lost it again, like each time I have to say I had to grieve the loss of it.
Yeah, I think society at large doesn't really understand quite what alopecia is. Society in general as a whole sees it as more a cosmetic kind of condition rather than a real illness.
You know, I'm not just a bald woman. I am Julia and I can exist as Julia.
I did not feel comfortable within myself, so why would I feel comfortable sharing that with someone else? So it was very intimidating, I want to say that. So even dating felt icky to me because now I'm allowing a complete stranger into my space, but I feel like I have this hidden secret.
So not having hair would have not been okay for dating, for me at least.
I know for my girlfriend, it was really tough for her to see me go through it.
I basically didn't want to do anything. You know, I didn't want to continue in school.
But I just was not comfortable in my own skin, so I just was never comfortable. I would never let my partner touch my scalp. They weren't allowed to touch my face.
I was nervous, I was nervous to look for a job. I was nervous to do interviews, meet new people.
I could no longer look at myself. I thought I was the ugliest person on the planet. I thought, who would want to date me? Who would want to hang out with someone like me? It's a very isolating situation that I was dealing with. It led to depression. It led to overeating. Because there were points where I didn't even want to be here anymore.
So I remember when I look at pictures now back at when I was 13 years old, I can see that I wasn't smiling fully, you know, compared to how I smile now. My mouth was often closed. It was kind of like a pursed smile. And I sometimes look back at that 13-year-old thinking, I don't think she was that happy.
When someone is diagnosed with alopecia from like a family doctor at their first diagnosis, they should be referred to a dermatologist, but they should also be presented with the option of being referred to a psychologist or therapist.
So it's really important that we see alopecia as a real illness that leads to negative mental health outcomes and not just a cosmetic illness.
Alopecia is just cosmetic. Absolutely not. There is the emotional impact. There is the financial impact. There is the mental impact of it. There's so much anxiety associated with losing your hair. So it's more than cosmetic. Alopecia is not linear. She's like this, and I have to learn to go like this with her. We have to coexist with each other, and every day is gonna look a little different, and that's okay.
Know that people living with alopecia are doing the best they can.
Know that people living with alopecia are loving, lovable, and loved.
Know that people living with alopecia are beautiful. We are free. We are your sisters, we are your brothers, we are your uncles, we are your fathers, we are your mothers. We are human beings trying to live in this space just like you.
My name is Julia, and I live with alopecia.
My name is Sasha, and I'm living with alopecia.
My name is Jen, and I live with alopecia.
My name is Crystal, and I'm living with alopecia.